Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to this boxing game, and you really can't know boxing if you don't do boxing. That's the truth. So I don't know boxing like that. But as a fan, I'm an educated fan on boxing, so I'm educated on what's happening, in the ring. But if you just look at Dewey Cooper training the Hawaiian, I believe she is Hawaiian young lady, and he was just showing on the speed bag its endurance and conditioning. And when you're tired, there's certain things you do to recoup. And then you start losing your power shots. And, Manny Pacquiao is an interesting fighter because his condition is on point. Every shot's a power shot. But you see, there's a lot to boxing. There's a lot to the sport of boxing. It's a very elaborate sport from the business end to the actual matchup and to the actual fights that you see. There's a lot of things going on in boxing, and that's why I appreciate the sport so much. MMA, is cool and everything, but I'm not really into the MMA stuff. I'm into the boxing stuff. It's a science. It's a sweet science. So we're going to talk a little bit about conditioning. The conditioning aspect of boxing. Um, there are some more modern methods now where people don't have to go running, do their hours of running. There's something else you can do now to build your cardio. Victor Conte and the Snacks program has shown this and proven this. You don't have to go to high altitude anymore and all that stuff. So boxing is evolving yet again because of the technology, the science of it. You can see it in Sean Porter. Now, Sean Porter is a ridiculously well conditioned athlete. It's like almost supernaturally well conditioned. Besides the fact that this guy drops a whole ton of weight to come down to welterweight to fight there, which is the division. This is the liveliest division, and it's the most lucrative division of boxing still to this day. Um, you have to understand that you know it's the conditioning of Sean Porter is ridiculous. The conditioning of guys like Manny Pacquiao, ridiculous conditioning. These guys fight through everything. They don't know what fatigue is. They don't know what being tired is. And conditioning builds you mentally. It builds you physically. And if you're a spiritual person, it will definitely build you spiritually. And how you deal with adversity also is going to be informed by your conditioning. I'm smelling some oil or something. Something's burning. Anyway, I got to get out there to a dentist appointment, but I just wanted to talk about briefly talk about different aspects of the boxing game and how difficult it is. If you and I were to go through one training section of boxing, just dealing with stance alone, and moving in a stance, that in itself is very tiring because you have to sit into a stance. You never stand up straight when you're boxing. Nobody stands up straight when they're boxing. So you have to get used to stances. You have to get used to wrapping gloves. You have to learn you use to wrapping your hands. You have to get used to doing things very uncomfortably because you're not with it. How you throw a punch and how you defend a punch, how you move in that ring. All of these things are science, and these are just the basics. You have to have a proper stance. You have to have a proper guard, and that guard you have to know how it functions so you can have both defense and offense done properly. Sometimes you can simultaneously do defense and offense in one move. So there's a lot of things, there's just a lot of stuff you have to know in boxing. We haven't even talked about angles yet. Certain people talk about angles when throwing punches. I like to talk about angles in terms of footwork. So usually when I'm talking about an angle, a punch thrown at an angle, I'm really talking about how the person shifted their body using their feet compared to the other person. So that's when I talk about angles. That's when I'm talking about angle of approach, etc. But there's also angles when you throw a shot. There's how you position your body. There's also angles how you dip and roll and ride punches and so on. Just a lot of stuff going on in boxing, and you have to perfect each element, and that's why there's a lot of repetition in boxing. And the only way you truly know how good you are in boxing is when you actually fight somebody. In the Matrix, it said you truly do not know someone until you fight them, and it's pretty much like that in boxing. You get experience from fighting, from actually boxing. That's why people who actually box know boxing because they see it firsthand. They know what you know, they know what happens. They felt what happens. They've seen what happens, etc. So you cannot know boxing just by being a spectator. It's just not possible. But you can understand what is going on, and that's the case with me. You can understand what's going on and see what's going on, but you're not feeling what's going on. You're not. You won't notice the subtleties unless you're very observant. The subtle, you know, the subtle feints, the subtle angle shifts. You won't notice those things. Only the boxers in the ring will actually notice that, and people who really know boxing can see what the other guy is actually doing. And it's quite elaborate. It's quite elaborate what they do. And do remember, you can condition yourself how much you want. Try out CrossFit, try out to learn whatever. When you get punched, it actually hurts an organ, which means, or hurts a part of your body, which means it takes energy from you. You don't ever gain energy by getting hit. It takes energy from you. It saps you, damages the body, breaks it down. So when people are doing endurance in boxing, it's a totally different sport to other sports, because there are two very important things you have to remember. The first one is when you get hit, you actually get drained of energy. And the second thing is you have to be conscious of where you're getting hit. In other words, you try to minimize certain spots on your body where you get hit, which completely shuts you down. You know, like the chin, like the back of the ear, like the rib cage, the solar plexus, the liver, the spleen, the kidneys. You know, you don't want to get hit certain places, the balls, the groin area. You don't want to get hit certain places. So you try to avoid that. And the high level elite fighters, they really found ways to protect those particular spots on their body, especially the liver area and the spleen area. You know, especially when you're throwing a punch, you have to be cognizant of that. And you'll hear Dewey Cooper yelling to the young lady, the young, what she's, I forgot what he called it, the tribe. Anyway, yelling to her, get your hands back, get your hands back. You throw a punch, get your hands back in position. That's being defensively responsible. If you throw a punch, you better get that hands back as quickly as possible, because you have to protect, because something could come back to you and could hit you. So if you look at, for instance, Jean Pascal versus Bivol, Pascal got his hands back rather quickly. And there are two ways to maximize that. The first one is if you have range, that is, you have a good distance away from your opponent. The further away you are, it helps you to be able to get out of range. And you can snap back or block the shot. It'd be easier to block the shot or snap back if you're out of range. Now, of course, it means your hand has to travel further distance. So there are all the caveats to it. You could still be open for the shot, but at least you could snap back, you know, out of reflex, out of the way of the shot if you're just out of range. The other thing is, if you're within range and in the pocket, you want to be in the pocket at an angle to your opponent so that your opponent has difficulty trying to hit you. What I mean by that is, if I may demonstrate. So here I am in the pocket like this, okay? But I'm off to an angle like this. If your power hand, for instance, is your left hand, then I want to be leaning in on your left hand to cramp it for space. So you can't, and I have my shoulder up like this on my forearm, and I'll be here, then I probably cramp this way, then I keep it back down, tuck, but I'm always at an angle to you, squash up against you. That way, your power hand can't do much, and your next hand, or the free hand, all you can do is tap me on my body. And then if I could find the right position and I could juggle myself properly, I could left hook you. You know, juggle myself into position properly. I could right hook you below your arm and stuff if you're not keeping your arms down. So there's all these little things. You know, sometimes you see how really what somebody says is a clean body shot, but really the guy hit the other guy's elbows. And the elbow is a very painful place to punch, okay? You don't want to be punching a nobody elbow. You don't be punching a nobody's elbow. And so that's a defensive maneuver as well, which could turn into an offensive maneuver. So how do we do it? Catch and shoot. So you catch it with the elbow. I know you guys can't see it. Catch it, and then you can launch your shot, whether it be an uppercut, a straight shot, or uppercut. So I catch it here and I uppercut you. Or as you see them demonstrate, I catch it here and then I hook here. Catch, hook, short, chop, and shot. All right. So there's all this sort of stuff in boxing, and it's easy for me to demonstrate, but I don't do it perfectly. I'm not doing it accurately at all. I was watching that. What was it? Yes, I was watching at the fighter who would be facing Adonis Stevenson, and he was facing that tough Cuban fighter. I forgot his name. He eventually stopped him. And I'm telling you, man, the dude, he gonna crash Adonis Stevenson. I mean, Adonis Stevenson, southpaw and everything, got some good power in his right hand. I just don't see him beating that young dude. That young dude, I talked about it in Pound for Pound Boxing Report. That young dude is going to stop Adonis Stevenson. Adonis Stevenson done got no more stamina. He ain't got no more conditioning to go no 12 rounds with nobody. All that guy has to do is drown him into deep waters, and around 4, 5, 6 start crashing him. And then somewhere around 8, 9, 10, stop him. He gonna stop. He gonna stop him. Adonis Stevenson has no business being in the boxing ring right at this point in time. He should have been resting. He's too old now. He's too old for the game. And he slowed down against Badou Jack. And even the fight before, it wasn't so great. He's slowing down. And that can only mean because of age. And this is a clear warning sign. He could get badly hurt in that ring if he keeps on trying to fight. So if I was Adonis Stevenson, I'll say, this is my last fight. If I get beat up in this last fight, that's it for me. I'm done with boxing. I shouldn't have sticked around so long. People are hoping that Adonis Stevenson faces Sergey Kovalev with his rematch with Alida Alvarez. Hopefully Sergey beats Alida Alvarez. And I don't think Adonis is going to last that long. He's not going to last that long. This is probably going to be his last fight in the ring, from what I see of him from the Badou Jack fight and the fight before that. So that Russian dude, or whatever his name is, Gavordik, Gavordik's going to smash him, man. He's going to smash Adonis. Okay, and I'm sorry for Adonis. I mean, Adonis could pull out the upset by knocking out Gavorstik, but Gavorstik going to outpoint him. Gavorstik's smart, like all those Eastern European fighters. They fight from range. They get on the inside, they land punches on you. I only see Gavorstik knocking him out. I see Gavorstik stopping him. And he's just too old. Adonis, you're not supposed to be in that ring. You old, bro. You be panting and everything after the Badou Jack fight, staggering to your corner. Come on, dude. You done for. You can't do this game no more. Why you pick that fight, man? To wreck you? Get some brain damage now? That was a bad idea. Bad idea. Gavorstik's going to run the route on him and take the throne. And Badou Jack might have to come back and fight Gavorstik and then fight Bivol. But he got Marcus Brown on his hands. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, enough boxing talk from me. You guys have a good one. I hope you guys enjoy your day. And I got to go. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comment section before I get out of here. All right, nobody's saying anything. Peace, deuces to you guys. I got a split, man. I got a medical appointment. Nice talking to you guys.